Hi, chat. Good evening. It is Tuesday night. Tuesday night. God, these weeks are, these days are just going by right now. It's all one big blur. I think even 2.0 feels that way. But welcome to the Tuesday night show. And tonight we have an update on something we've been covering, and it's the lawsuit of Ethan Klein versus Denims. Once again, why name myself after jeans? Like, I still don't understand. My name Denims. I still don't understand it, but hey, whatever. Whatever. You know, retarded leftists do retarded things. Um, that's what they do. Otherwise, they wouldn't be leftists. And guys, remember, Denims is one of Hassan's hoes, along with Frogan and along with Casey Tron, who, when Ethan Klein dropped his content nuke about Hassan Piker being a complete piece of shit, they basically live streamed it as it was premiering. So Ethan Klein couldn't get any of the benefits from that. And they explicitly said that. They explicitly said that to him. They did quite a few things. And remember, Casey Tron is settled with Ethan Klein. Frogan's case is kind of hanging in the wind. And like I said, nothing's happened on that one. And I get the feeling they've reached an agreement of basically, if we litigate Denim's case first, you're in a worse position than for Denims is, Frogan. So I think they're just going to let to see how that rolls out, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense at this point. Why they're, or something's happening. I don't know. I hope it's more of that Frogan's cooperating, and, Lex Juther, Ethan Klein, the dastardly man himself, has made these communists suffer, because that's the one thing I will say about leftists. The best killer of communists and leftists is other leftists. So it's like being a black guy in the hood. Who is going to likely kill you? Another black guy. So I'm just quoting stats. I hope you guys are doing well. Let's see here. P-Dub says, can you bring Clyde, aka the best co-host, on? Been a lack of Clyde content. Yeah, I will. He's been very clingy to 2.0 lately. Now, let me try something real quick. We will take care of that. It's only it's Clyde's birthday. We actually don't know his birthday. He's a shelter dog, so we don't know. His gotcha day was April 10th. I do know that for a fact. That was 3 years ago. So I do know that for a fact. So let me see. New gamer. Well, nude gamer. Or new D gamer. It's like you got a new you're like John Wayne Bobbitt. They cut it off and they put it back on. So it's like a new D gamer. Says he needs to start showing naming a sandwich of the day and have his wife make it. I don't have a wife yet. And I'm a far better sandwich maker than 2.0 if I had to guess. I'm just saying, if I really had to judge, I'd say me on that. Eric Rodriguez, been a member for 9 months, says, are you going to cover the Carl Jobs felting? I mean, he got told he can't use the electronic filing. He's going to serve it all by mail. I mean, that's hilarious, but that's not really that big of a felting. That's just kind of like, suffer. I mean, it's going to cost him a lot of fucking money now, which is hilarious, but it doesn't change the case too much. He's still going to lose. It's just, by a longer timeline. Lone Alaskan's been a member for 20 months. Thank you, man. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. And then Jack Coleman says, the age for the quartering has ended and the age of the boofening has begun. Yeah. Oh, man, the quartering. Let me tell you what, man. Also, good to see you, by the way. Good to see you, by the way. That's a nice little kitty. Oh, nice kitty cat on screen. So, yes, thank you, John, thank you for being here. Yes, CLYDE. Yes. It's the only tower you guys can build yourself that's acceptable here. Remember, every other tower is a crowd building exercise. A Clyde Tower, it's the only one you can do by yourself that I will support. Well, actually, yes, and a Bonbon Tower. Although Bonbon's not here. Bonbon's with Bonbon's owner and will not be coming to Florida with us. So not going to be too much there. Denim's going to come on that lawyer. Well, I don't know about that. I think the Clyde's about to come on Denims. Because it's good come in denim. Remember, it comes in denim, not comes on denim. Okay, let's see here. Denim needs titty armor for that thumbnail to be lore accurate. Yeah, well, they kept on putting a fucking Crusader armor on her. I'm like, but she's a Saracen. That doesn't work. So I had to work with what I had. I was more importantly showing like she's got a droopy sword, like it's not working. Yes. Doobie doo. And remember, chat, how was your weekend? And tell me, how did your weekend go? That's like how 2.0 I greet ourselves now. Like, how was your weekend? How was your weekend? Clyde is already in Jacksonville. No, he is not yet. Jane Reed says, you see that Claude deleted Pocket OS database and backups? No. Wow. Did not know that. The Jews invented denim. Radcon says he could sense your moving stress. There's not a whole lot of stress, actually. Like, our kitchen's all packed up. We've got, a set of plates, a set of glasses, set of forks and silverware we use. Everything else is packed away. We're just working our way through stuff. A bunch of knickknacks have been put away. It's actually, like, surprisingly, we don't have as much shit as we thought we did. So we're making progress. We're making progress. Let's see here. Let me see, make sure. Carl Jobs, the absolute legend. Yes. Carl gets it back to the 90s. Yes, he did. We need shared custody of Bonbon. I don't know if that's going to happen at all. Will Bonbon's owner come to Florida to get on cruises with 2.0? No, because that's not. You're thinking of Louie's owner. That's 2.0's friend. Is Louie's owner. So I don't know if they're going to go on one together anytime soon, but maybe. I don't know. Louis is not coming to Florida. Can I do a Louis Tower? Louis Towers are fine too, and also Laney. Maybe it's like a Discord mail. I don't know if I want to know what this is. Oh no, chat. Clyde has become Florida man already. Clyde is now Florida dog. Yes. The weekend status in shambles. Cortisol levels critical. Yes, overload. Stacy says, are you moving yourself? It is so much work. I mean, we're packing up boxes of stuff. Like, I've got, like, all this stuff in this office I'm going to put into boxes and pack up. But, like, I just move it out to the garage. I'm not, like, doing it. Like, we're not loading it up in a truck. Like, my safe, this table, which has, like, a marble top on it that I use as a desk. All of our stuff, our couch isn't, like, no. We're putting all of, like, somebody's coming to move all that stuff and load it all up, but we're packing it all away. I mean, we've got all the time in the world to do that anyway, but also it saves a little bit of money, so why not pack the way you want to pack as well? Your dogs lose their shit when you start packing. Oh, yeah, if 2.0 pulls out a suitcase, yes, Clyde gets very, very upset. But if just packing boxes, they don't seem to. They're not noticing that. They're not noticing that. Maybe a couple hours into the 15-hour drive, Clyde's going to realize something's up, but not right away. Shove it in your VCR. Thank you for your new name. At least I haven't noticed you. It says someone who just moved, boxing all the shit yourself and letting the movie guys take care of the heavy shit is the way to go. Yeah, I mean, like, I could be in charge of it. Warwolf 36 Gaming says, do you think Josh Moon sparking, I mean, do you think you mean spurging about anime and slandering people will finally put the Kiwi Farms down? No, it's just Chibi Review sounds like the biggest faggot in the world. Oh my god. No. And if they want to go play with Keffels, Chibi wants to pretend to be Keffels, I guess. I mean, do so at your own risk. But no. Jefferson Post says, let's go, Brandon means something different now. Yes, it does. Iron Knuckles says Carl fucked up, but he's still a fun channel. I mean, the information he produces is interesting, but no, he's lost a lot of his he's a guy now who's just a complete fucking asshole who does what he wants. So I mean, that's really hurt him a lot. It's hurt him a lot. Have I packed the trains yet? No, those go last. It's actually like the guns and the trains are gonna be like we're taking 2.0's driving the animals down, and that's gonna be part like in the last carload. And I'm gonna be driving down, and I'll have room in my car for stuff. But also, like I'm gonna have a trunk full of guns because that's gonna be like I'm moving down with that. It's gonna be secure. We're transporting them down. So, yes, the trains and the guns are gonna be put in the back of the trunk, and you'll never see them. You didn't get a U-Haul? Weak, dude. Fucking weak. Fuck moving. Like, fuck doing that shit, dude. I've done that enough. Fuck that shit. Joe says, how will Landy handle the move? She's basically going to sit in the chair, like one of the chairs in the back of the car and cower in the second row. And then when we get there, she's going to be like, oh my God, everything's like, she's going to be a head case like she is now. And hold on one second, chat. All right, we're back. All right, hold on here. It's like a marble top. I thought you had a muffin top. Well, muffin. I have like fucking cake exploding over the edges of the pan top. Are you not allowed to have the moving company move guns and ammo? I don't know if they want to move all of that. More importantly, I don't know if they're allowed to do it. I don't know if I want them to do that. So, hold on. I mean, that's the thing. Like 2.0 just said, fuck no. Like, I don't want them necessarily to be handling that stuff. I would rather handle it myself just because of it's, there's a lot of liability in that. And also, I would rather, I can have them. I can be armed while I'm transporting them. So I think that's the safer bet anyway. Yes, enjoy yourself. The rest of the night, have oranges and crack open some Fireball. Yes. But yes, Clyde did go to the vet today. We had to get them all caught up on their distemper and Bordello and stuff. And hold on. Uh-oh. I think she's coming. Oh, he finally came, chat. The return of the king. 2.0 had to help corral him. He's like, why'd you do this to me? He had all his shots today. He got, what was it? Rabies, distemper, Bordello. That was everything, right? He got a lot of stuff.
He's up to date on it.
Yeah. And they checked his big bump on the back of his back, and they're like, the vet's like, whatever it is benign. I'm not going to mess with it. So, yeah.
Sean was very upset. He tried to convince Doc.
I did not convince him to do it. I just said I had to go outside. I had to step away for a minute. So I was like, if he's gonna pop any of these, I want to see it. And he didn't do it. He didn't lance open the big thing on the back of Clyde. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's And that thing right there.
Mhm.
That's a big thing. He don't like touching it. So we don't know what it is, but it's something that's just kind of growing and growing and growing. So Underbite Casino, yes. Clyde has the same face as an Ewok. He does. Mwah. We're gonna have to get him a haircut here soon too, and I'm gonna have to get a haircut. Are you worried that Clyde has autism now? I'm pretty sure he's already had it. So
They're getting cut the week before we move.
okay, well, I'm glad to know. Thank you, sweetheart.
I'm on top of it.
Also, chat, see, she's still alive. You can hear her. So
Right. Come on, Clyde.
So yeah, he's got a bunch of those bumps, and a couple of them he's like nicked or agitated, and they've come to the surface and broke through. And when you squeeze them, it's just like black dog skin and like keratin and stuff and goo and water. So a couple times they've exploded out. We are 2.0 respecters. Yes, well, I'm glad you guys are. Oh. All right, guys. So it's time to get started here. It is time to get started. Katie says, hold on. I relayed your message that you guys need her. Hodor says, I had something like that too. Is just keratin bullshit under the skin. Had to use cream on it that dragged it out, but also picked at it. It was a bad idea. It was a bit infected. Is it probably majorly clogged pores? I mean, I don't know, because he gets them all over. He's getting them all over the place. And like I said, eventually, I'm sure me touching them doesn't help, but like eventually, like they start poking through, and you just like, Clyde had one where I just went like that. They were like all over. So, it's fucking smelled so rank, but it hasn't come back after I did it. So, yes, popping them are the best. But I'm not gonna lie. Every time every time I sit here and like I've got the razor knife out, and I put a brand new sharp blade in this thing, which is like absolutely. I bought like a whole box of the Chinese ones, which are like brutally razor sharp. I always wanted to like I want to go to the kitchen and grab an ice cube and take it and rub it on his bump and just go and just watch it just everywhere. So I've definitely wanted to do that. Is he tested for allergies? I don't think so. I don't think we've done that. Chucky says, "Why wouldn't the vet remove it?" Because it's like $1,500. Otherwise, it's not hurting him really. It's just he thinks it's probably some sort of like it's a cyst that's just growing. Because you can check under the bottom of it; it's not attached, it's not on a stalk or anything like that. So. Oh, but anyways, yes. Now into something more disgusting. Denims attempt to get summary judgment against Ethan Klein. So, all right, guys. Now remember, this is about the content nuke. Denims is alleging fair use in it, and what? Remember, basically, to do fair use, he has to admit, yeah, I did it, but I had a really good reason. And it's like, but do you? Also, some people asked, are we going to cover James Comey Thursday? There's nothing there. As much as James Comey should have to look under his car every morning for the rest of his life, this is a bullshit indictment that's not going to go anywhere. So, TLDR, it's a lawsuit by the government. It's a lawsuit by the government. And then, real quick, Amateur Iconoclast for 5 subs, and we can't get him to woo for you on screen. So. I give you an a woo here, Chad. I give you an a woo here. Thank you for your support. But let's get to Denims. Because it comes in denim. And, I'm sure that's how she likes it herself. So here we go. Hold on here. So a couple of you guys are asking questions. Milk Truck Driver says, what about the OpenAI versus Musk trial? I didn't know that's going right now, but that's something we can cover as it happens. But I know it's not being televised. Also, interestingly enough, Ethan Klein through TED Entertainment, which is his company, is suing like Apple and is suing a Snapchat, a couple of different companies. So Ethan Klein's actually in the past month, he's engaging in some massive lawfare that I don't think anybody's really talked about. So might be another thing we'll cover one day. But Ethan Klein's going to war with Silicon Valley. Right now, though, it's TED Entertainment, California Corporation versus Alexandra Marwa Saber or Saber. I don't really fucking know. I don't really care. I don't really care. Versus formerly known as Marwa Talat Abdelmanan. I think. Also known as Denims, an individual, and the Reddit mods 1 through 10. This is a notice of motion and motion for judgment on the pleadings. So what is a judgment on the pleadings? This is basically when you come to a summary judgment motion, guys. So we're not asking for a motion to dismiss here. This is different. Remember, with the motion to dismiss, those are the 12B motions. And those are things like failure to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. And the biggest one there, that's 12B6. But you also have challenges too. And this is where we'll bring these up. These are the lack of subject matter jurisdiction, personal jurisdiction, improper venue, insufficient process, insufficient service, failure to join a party under Rule 19, which is the joinder rule, meaning, you know, for example, like in the Farms case, the Russell Grias, technically, you know, Google should have been joined, but it's too late for all that now. Now, from here, that's Rule 12B, but Rule 12C, motion for judgment on the pleadings. After the pleadings are closed, but early enough not to delay trial, a party may move for judgment on the pleadings. Now, we get to that because it's just like summary judgment, guys. It's just like summary judgment. And remember, summary judgment is a different thing. Summary judgment's a different rule. And summary judgment is Rule 56. And summary judgment is where you can go for summary judgment or partial summary judgment. Now, what's the difference? Summary judgment is generally after you've had discovery. So that's why summary judgment is what it is. But remember, summary judgment is the same thing in the sense of you're telling the judge, Your Honor, we agree to all the facts. All the facts are correct. There's no disagreement to them. One of us, you know, has met their burden. One of us has not. You know, decide who wins here. And ultimately, the judge could rule, hey, Ethan, you win. He can also say, hey, Denims, you win. You know, he could say, Denims, yes, you infringe, but you have fair use. And that's based on all the evidence and facts that are provided through discovery. This is a much more risky proposition. Remember, no discovery has really gone on at this point. There isn't a lot of discovery here yet. This, guys, this is all just the motion, the complaint, the answer, and now a motion to judgment on the pleadings, meaning we haven't even, it's like flip a coin. We're at the coin toss. And you're calling the football game, you're calling the Super Bowl at the coin toss. Well, wait, who's going to receive? You know, who's receiving? And then what end zone are you defending? Okay, and I'm going to judge right there who wins or loses. Like, we're not playing the game at all. We're not having kickoff. We're not getting to the fourth quarter. No, we're going straight to this. Denims is like, fuck it. I'm going to take the revolver. She takes it. And she's going, zzz, click. And she's hoping it goes click instead of bang. That's what she's doing. That's what this is, guys. Denims is literally doing that. Now, the one thing I will point out, and I will say, I think that, you know, you could hear the seething in Destiny's voice when somebody sent me the clip of this. This is the notice of motion for pleadings on the complaint. They're at docket entry number 35. Destiny's case is like up to almost 200. I'm sure Destiny's pretty fucking pissed. Actually, hold on here. What is it's an out of control thing. It's an out of control case. Just like Russell Greer and the farms. You know, they're up to like 450. You know, Destiny's up to 240. This is Destiny's case. They're up to entry 240, actually, like 243 technically. This started way, you know, like that's how bad this is right now. This has been pretty chill. It's only 6 months younger than Destiny's case. But look, they've only had filing number 35. This is actually reasonable. This isn't insane. This is insane. What's happening here? Yes, Ethan does want discovery from Reddit. And, you know, this is, once again, this isn't Ethan's idea. Denims is the one who's like, hey, let's try this. And Ethan Klein's like, by all means, try it. Let me know how it goes. And she's going to just blah, right at the wall. And Ethan Klein's going to go, huh, I guess that worked. And then he's going to turn around and go back to raping the Reddit mods. So we'll see what happens there. It's going to be there. So let's keep moving on this. So they point out, they go through all of this, what's going to happen here. Then on June 5th, there is going to be a hearing in the courtrooms there. It's going to be at the U.S. Courthouse in the Central District of California. Remember, chat, Southern District is San Diego. The Central District is LI. Northern District, San Francisco. Eastern District is Bakersfield. So there is no Western District of California yet. So they are moving for an order granting her motion for judgment on the pleadings and entering judgment in her favor against Ethan Klein through TED Entertainment. And this is on plaintiff's first claim of relief for direct copyright infringement as to the nuke. So it's just the content nuke here, okay? So here we go, guys. Remember, there's two things Ethan Klein is going after Denims for. The content nuke, and then also down shows that she went through and covered. The Eastern District of your mom, yes. So here we go. Here we go. And they put, we're going through all this because it doesn't really matter at this point. So it's table of contents, and we'll go through the factual background, okay? Because you guys may not know it. We're just gonna catch up on this. There's a bunch of cases here. You'll see it's table of authorities. This is how you do it properly. You cite statutes, other authorities. So they talk about, this is a case about a live streamer on the interactive social media platform Twitch who is defending herself against copyright infringement for doing what live streamers online do. Well, no, not all live streamers, being one myself. Watch material posted online and react critically and mockingly to a live audience. That's not what you did here. That's not what you did here. And they say, as alleged in Ethan Klein's perplexingly long 79-page copyright infringement complaint. And remember, chat, we went through that, and it was basically tying Denims to the Nazis and all kinds of shit, just ripping. Like, it was Ethan Klein and his attorney taking a monstrous shit on Denims. Like, it was like Vince McMahon shitting on his intern's hair. You know, just, yes! And it was beautiful. It was hilarious. Watching leftists attack each other, it was just, mwah. You love to see it. You love to see it. And they go through all this, and it was all coming down to her live streamed reaction to Ethan Klein's documentary entitled Content Nuke Hassan Piker, which he posted on January 31st, and Ethan Klein is claiming copyright infringement. Now notice, it's undisputed that Denims live streamed the nuke on her Twitch page shortly after it was posted and critically appraised the documentary before her audience. Okay, well, I don't know about that. I would say no. She did not appraise it critically, but she did post it. And he says, both the nuke itself and on Denims' own commentary, Denims did not otherwise repost or republish the nuke according to the pleadings. That's true. This case concerns Denims' one-time live stream reaction to the nuke. The focus of the 102-minute long documentary, Notice that's what they're arguing is that it's a documentary. It's like, but it's not. But this is like Ethan Klein's video is 102 minutes long. It's over political ideology of the alt left, meaning communist, Hassan Piker, regarding the Israel-Palestine conflict. Well, not only that, a lot of things. It's about how Hassan does radicalize people to be anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli. It criticized Twitch as a platform that should be ashamed of platforming hardcore left communists like Hassan Piker. They should. I mean, they let him do whatever the fuck he wants, and nobody else gets to do that. And it says, other than being a hit piece on Hassan Piker, but that's what it is. He's allowed to do that. They say, alleged in the complaint, though, Denims put out a live stream on her Twitch page where she watched it for herself for the first time. And notice they reacted to the new. Why would you put that in quotations? You should say you did react to it. During her live stream reaction, Denim paused the nuke 211 times to interject with real-time commentary and criticism. No, like a lot of it was like, huh? What? That's not true. That's basically what she did. That's basically how Denims did it. That's how fucking Denims did it. Like, this is so fucking stupid. This is absolute horseshit here. Absolute horseshit. She also engaged directly with their live audience via real-time chat contemporaneous with the actions. The critique of the nuke ran 235 minutes, 2.5 times longer than the original. Some of Denim's commentary pauses ran as long as 8 minutes. Many of them ranged between 1 and 5 minutes. On 4 occasions, Denims pulled the nuke off screen and pulled up other video content related to the subject matter. And they watched and discussed the content with their audience. The content of Denim's commentary ranged, but the quintessential comments were critical and derisive of Ethan Klein himself, of the production of the nuke, and the substantive messaging presented, which she opposed and rebutted. Not really. I mean, I remember watching it. It's like, she didn't. Well, the complaint applying a super hyper-technical analysis. Yes. The law chat is super hyper-technical at times. Oh my God. Like, can you imagine being super hyper-technical in the law? Could you really, like, how dare you? How dare you be super hyper-technical? That's not fair, Your Honor. That's not fair. And I mean, let's go back to the top of this because we got a problem. Imagine this up here. Ethan Klein's attorneys. On this, Ethan Klein himself being a big old Jew. Oh no, the Jews being hyper-technical. And Ethan Klein's attorney, Lex Luthor hired his own Jewish attorney, who's a nasty, like, very relentless Jew. Imagine some Jews being very persnickety and being super aggressive in how they're going after things. Oh, no, it's super technical. No fucking shit. They contend that Denim's documentary didn't... I love how it's like her commentaries didn't do enough. And in the other breath, also can see that Denims makes a highly transformative use of the nuke. That's not what they say. Denim's use of the nuke as contemporaneous criticism, regardless of the substance of the views, is paradigmatically transformative. The portions of the nuke used by Denims, she used the whole motherfucking thing. We're tied to that critical purpose. The complaint does not plausibly articulate how Denim's live stream constitutes a market substitute. She literally said, come watch it here so you don't have to give him any cut of the action. She intentionally did that. Runkle the Bailey. Hello, Runkle. How you doing, man? Hey, folks. Hope you're doing well out there. Hope you're doing well, guys. Ian Runkle the Bailey, friend of this show, friend of the channel, hopefully a friend of yours. Good guy up there in Canada, fighting the good fight up that way. Hope you're doing well, man. They'd say that these were tied to that critical purpose. The complaint does not plausibly articulate how the live stream constitutes a market substitute. Denims literally says it was going to be one. And we'll get Ethan Klein's response, but I do think this deserved its own response here, chat. So that's why we're getting into it. Also, I apologize. This was filed on the 17th, but we've been busy. We've been busy. You know, presidential assassinations, all kinds of stuff. We've just been busy on this. But they point out that the nuke and Ethan Klein, who is the producer of the nuke, an outspoken supporter of Israel in the Israel-Palestine conflict. I mean, he supports Israel, but he thinks what they're doing is very not cool, and he thinks what they've done to the Palestinians is not acceptable. And they say, according to the complaint, like Piker has openly expressed pro-Palestinian views, and whose evident mission, in react to the nuke was to rebut the views of Klein and her own and advance her own and Piker's. They're claiming this is fair use, and it's like, I don't think so. I don't think so. So, what was the background? So, Ethan Klein's company was founded in 2016 by Ethan and Hila, and it produced social content. Denims, which once again, my name is Jeans. She's a left-leaning streamer on Twitch. And now the nuke was a 1 hour and 42-minute length video Ethan put out there. The nuke was registered with the U.S. Copyright Office prior to its release, receiving a registration number. And that was the neat part. Ethan knew that the Hassan Piker lackeys were going to watch it. So he went out and registered ahead of time, which this is all fair. He set a trap for these people, which is legal. You know, it's no different than a bait car. They're not enticing you to do it. It's just you happen to decide to steal a car. You just happen to steal a car the police had access to. The nuke is organized into 7 sections, 6 of which are primarily informational and devoted to discourse. And yeah, it's, yes, 3 of them are about, Hassan having that guy on who is part of the Houthis who were seizing boats. You know, how he kind of likes Hezbollah, how he likes Hamas. You know, a lot of cringe from Hassan. A lot of cringe from Hassan. So also, yes, in the fact that basically Twitch's CEO is like, we love you, Hassan, and have birthday parties for him and shit. It's really cringe, really cringe. But moving on, Denim's reaction. So notice, Ethan Klein published it on January 31st. The day it comes out, Denims conducted a live stream, which she watched the nuke in real time before a live audience. Yes, as was being premiered. Challenging the nuke, alleging the challenge was Denim's so-called group viewing session. Denim live streamed the reaction to the nuke, ran 3 hours and 52 minutes, more than double the nuke's length. Yeah, and I can watch Avengers on here and comment for 5 hours. That doesn't mean I've transformed it. Ethan Klein alleges Denim displayed the nuke on her screen during a live stream while pausing to offer commentary across each of the nuke sessions while interacting with the viewers through a live chat. The complaint itself catalogs numerous instances in which Denims responded to the nuke's observations. And TEI concedes that Denims makes a highly transformative use of the nuke, stating where the nuke seeks to expose how Hassan radicalizes people online, Denims attempts to use a nuke for the exact opposite purpose. Yes, but she admits her entire goal ultimately is to fuck Ethan Klein out of money. Once again, there are fair use factors, but you could balance them out against the actual actions and statements of a party. Denims was eligible to receive paid subscriptions, donos, and ad revenue, which she did. Denims did not charge people to access the live stream. That's correct. They then make the allegation the live stream was intended and succeeded to provide a market substitute. Denims said that. Denims actually said that was her goal here. Now, they talk about, once again, guys, Rule 12C. And this one we're moving on. Remember, we're just taking the pleadings and we're going to ask the judge to make a ruling. We haven't done discovery yet. So it's literally just the 4 pages of these papers. Okay. Now, there are some exhibits offered in these, so this technically isn't just a Rule 12C. It's kind of like a Rule 12C, Rule 56-ish when you're offering like exhibits along with it. But overall, this is basically a Rule 12 motion. So what are they talking about here? Well, and remember, after the pleadings are closed, so complaint, and answer. That's already happened. But early enough not to delay trial. But remember, we don't have a trial date set right now because, well, everything's on hold because of the stuff with the Reddit mods and other things. So we haven't had discovery yet. The judgment of the pleadings is proper when the moving party clearly establishes on the face of the pleadings that no material issue of fact remains to be resolved, and it's entitled to judgment as a matter of law. That's the summary judgment standard as well. And it says, because motions for judgment on the pleadings and motions to dismiss under 12b-6 are functionally identical, the same standard of review is applicable to Rule 12b and 12c motions. The principal difference between the two of these is the timing of the filing. And they say, therefore, a judgment or motion for judgment of the pleadings can be based on the lack of a cognizable legal theory or the absence of sufficient facts alleged under a cognizable legal theory. Once again, chat, so the standard under a 12b-6 motion that you fail a stated claim upon which relief can be granted. Okay, well, similarly, if Denims does have fair use, well, then Ethan Klein has failed to state a claim upon which relief can be granted. Yes, she copyright infringed, but if she does have fair use, that's it. Now, how do you judge these things? Okay, so when you have a motion for judgment, all well-pleaded allegations of fact by the party opposing the motion are accepted as true. So remember, you're taking the facts favorable in the most favorable light to the non-moving party. You can draw reasonable inferences on their behalf. So that's the same still. Courts are not required to accept as true allegations that are conclusory, unwarranted, deductions of fact, or unreasonable inferences. And remember, in a complaint, you don't necessarily have to have a completely fleshed out theory of a case. Because remember, the idea is you just have to have a plausible set of facts. Well, Ethan Klein didn't. He laid out 79 pages of whoop ass and 79 pages of documentation. So Ethan Klein is prepared for this. And also they talk about the court should grant Denim's motion. Why? Okay, well, applicable law and fair use. And they say fair use is an equitable rule of reason that permits courts to avoid rigid application of copyright when on occasion it would stifle the very creativity that law is designed to foster. And that's true. There are important things. There are important things that happen. Chuchin says, whoa, Comey got indicted again. Once again, like I said, as much as I think James Comey deserves to have to look under his car every morning before he goes to work for the rest of his life, the indictment's garbage. So, yeah. So don't worry about it. Nothing there. We'll talk about it Thursday. They say the fair use of a copyrighted work for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research are not infringements. And there are 4 non-exclusive factors, meaning, chat, these aren't the only factors. These are the 4 factors courts have decided are all common, though. So what are the purpose and character of the use, including whether it's for commercial use or for nonprofit educational purposes? The nature of the copyrighted work. Three, the amounts of substantiality of the portion used in relation to the copyrighted work as a whole. And 4, the effect of the use upon the potential market or for the value of the copyrighted work. And yes, the 4 factors set forth general principles. And notice you're seeing the Ninth Circuit, because we are in the Central District of California, they are the one in charge. And it says fair use is flexible and its application may well vary depending on context. Yes. The statutory factors should not be viewed as discrete questions, but as interrelated issues contributing to a holistic inquiry. Yes. You should be able to put them all together. Guess what also gets put together? Denim's statements, which show her real intent. And you guys, and I've talked about this before, but like Campbell versus Acuff Rose, these are an Andy Warhol versus Goldsmith. These two especially, like you're seeing these right here, these are like, that's a big case. That's a big case if you want to read about fair use and copyright. They're monstrous cases. They're very, very important. They say that when the copyrighted work and the alleged infringement are both before the court and they're capable of examination and comparison, non-infringement can be determined on a motion for judgment on the pleadings. And notice they're citing the California Central District case. So they're citing case out of this court, but more importantly, though, that's only persuasive authority because that was probably decided by another judge in the court. That judge can't bind this judge like that. It's a little different, though. Like the Supreme Court, stare decisis is there. Or if this is in the Ninth Circuit, some judges on the Ninth Circuit, they could say they can say they're bound by that, but they can also overturn it. The Supreme Court could also overturn things. But these guys down at the trial court level, they can't bind each other like that. They say materials attached to the complaint are incorporated in the complaint and therefore may be considered a motion for judgment on the pleadings, which they both did. They've attached all this stuff together. And the materials are alleged and there's no authenticity issues. So they say Denims use is fair use. It's like, I don't know about that. JCXE says, ignoring the rest of the claims by Ethan. Well, remember, this is just for the nuke, not the H3 countdown episode. This is Denims trying, though. The first factor weighs decisively in favor of fair use. Doesn't really. Denims live stream transformed the nuke from one-sided advocacy into the subject of live, unscripted debate and criticism that offered her audience a fundamentally different purpose, character, and perspective on the subject matter. Is it a different purpose? Denims says it was all about keeping Ethan Klein from being able to make ad revenue and clicks off of it. So that's not, the fundamental purpose, yes, Ethan's doing these to make money and get paid at the end of the day. So, yes, are you going to argue, well, I'm trying to steal money out of his pocket, so technically that's a different purpose. It is in a way. That's literally what Denims is trying to argue here. Yeah. Remember, because that's what Denims said. The H3 snark mods have said the same thing. The first factor examines the purpose and character of the use, whether such use is a commercial nature or nonprofit. Okay, well, this factor is taken on a heightened significance because it influences the lens through which courts consider the other fair use factors. Well, there's 3 factors here. This is therefore the third factor will harken back to the first factor, and the fourth factor, relating to market harm, is influenced by whether any commercial use is transformative. So how do you do transformative? Well, what's transformative mean here? Well, they're arguing transformative does not appear in Section 107 of the Copyright Act, and that's true. It doesn't. Transformative work adds something new to an existing work, endowing the first with the new expression, meaning, or message. The expression, meaning, and message was, I don't want Ethan Klein to make money off this. And then it says, rather than merely superseding the objects of the original creation. The second part of fair use, the first fair use factor, involves whether the new use is commercial, whether the user stands to profit from exploitation without paying the customary price. Well, Denims made a lot of money. The more transformative the new work, the less will be the significance of the other factors like commercialism. Which is true. The more transformative it is, the more you do to it, the less that can matter. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's not counted, but it does factor. In the complaint, they're saying Ethan alleges Denims was highly transformative. I don't think that's the way you're meaning this. They point out that, as explained below, TEI is correct. Denims' use of the nuke was highly transformative. They say Ethan's own allegations in the live stream itself confirm the use was highly transformative. Wasn't, though. In the live stream reaction, Denims, among other things, offered commentary on the Uyghur genocide, which Hassan Piker refuses to acknowledge because he's over there going to Beijing and sucking on Chinese police wiener, which is so funny. He doesn't like cops in America, but the moment the Chinese cops demand his information, he's like, oh, yes, boss. Yes, boss. Yes, master. Bending the knee. And Chinese authoritarianism would fuck the Chinese Communist Party. Challenged Ethan Klein's framing of the Houthi movement. Why? They're a bunch of thieving fucking pirates. and Hassan Piker supports them and platformed them. Also, the guy's Galaxy leader is not what they haul Galaxy gas in, so don't worry, chat. Also, she contested Ethan Klein's portrayal of Hezbollah and its former leader Hassan Nasrallah. Yes, Hezbollah. They were just curing cancer. They weren't bombing and fucking murdering and acting like psychopaths. No, they were just nice boys who didn't do nothing wrong. Disputed Ethan Klein's events of October 7th and the evidence of sexual violence. Yes, Denims was an apologist for October 7th and all the raping that happened. It critiqued Ethan Klein's discussion of Twitch enforcement and moderation decisions. What? Literally, Hassan gets to do whatever he wants. So I don't really know what the argument is there. Offering counter arguments regarding the relationship between Zionism and Judaism. She's neither of those things. I don't really know how much she can comment on it. Comment on the production quality, editing, and rhetorical techniques of the nuke itself. And this is normally chat where if you're trying to, this is a part of fair use that people don't normally do. If you're showing like a picture and somebody tries to claim you violated copyright, you can say, well, I'm analyzing the lighting, I'm analyzing the positioning, like what was the shutter speed, the focus. You can challenge all those things without actually, that's another way to challenge stuff is from an artistic perspective like that. And they're saying the undisputed purpose of Denim's live stream was to contest, comment on, and mock Ethan Klein's message rather than just rebroadcast it. Notice they left out make money off of it and deny Ethan money. They put out they cite a case here, equals 3 versus Juke and Media, which is one of the big copyright cases that's out there, guys. This is a big one, and it goes back to 2015. These are some of the OG lawsuits, and Ethan Klein is in one of these as well. It's up there, it's along with Sargon versus Aquila. They're big. They say even if the plaintiff's episodes are not parodies, the episodes comment or upon or criticize the defendant's videos. Plaintiff's episodes directly respond to and highlight humorous aspects of the videos. The episodes do so via reactions to the videos, jokes, narration, costumes, and graphics. Yeah, you can do that. Also, how the fuck do you say this guy's name? Hosenade versus Klein, I don't remember, but that's the Klein. This is the case Ethan Klein went out of the Southern District of New York. This is the guys, if you go down below and look at my stuff and you look at my disclaimers that I have in videos, this is one of the things I have. I cite it. It's not like it's a magical thing that protects me, but it's absolutely critical for me to show that I'm protected and that I'm citing legal theory to protect myself in regards to what I'm doing here. And actually, I'll bring this up. Ooh, it did not save. Motherfuck. Hold on, guys. Let me put this over here. That did not work. And it's frustrating when it does it. Hold on, chat. Hold on, chat. All right, there we go. Now, I'm going to bring this up so you guys can see it. It's important. We're going to have chatception here real quick, guys. Look at that. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. So what are we talking about here? When you get down to the bottom here, you can see a couple different cases that I have cited. Let me get rid of that. Okay. So this says, all references or clips that may be used on this channel are for fair use, commentary, criticism, and educational purposes. Now, I cited a couple of cases. Hughes versus Benjamin. This is Aquila versus Sargon. This is Ethan Klein's case I cite. When I say equals 3 versus Juka Media. Now, is this any magical thing that protects me? No, but I think it's a good idea that I'm warning you ahead of time. I'm willing to cite some things here that show this is all being done with the intent to comply with those things. Once again, that it's not a magic talisman, but it's not a bad idea to put down there. It's not a bad idea to put down. So they point out here, they go on to say, though, Denim's use of the nuke is at the heart of the fair use doctrine. It would. But notice who they cite here, and it would lose meaning without reproduction of plainest videos. Stebbins versus Alphabet, guys. If you don't know this right here, that's Acer Thorn. That's Acer Thorn, chat. Yes, we haven't talked about him in a while, but it's that retarded guy in Arkansas, the were turkey who gobbles and eats hot dogs in his mold-filled apartment, who has sued Kiwi Farms. Yes, he has sued Google one of multiple times. He is also a vexatious litigant in I believe, the western and eastern districts of Arkansas. He's that big of a fucking asshole. He's sued everybody imaginable for now a possible total of like $8 billion in total damages he's tried to allege. He's lost every lawsuit. But yes, this is being cited. And this is insane that it's being cited. Yes, the gobbler. Yep. Yes, laser gun. Pew, 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 pew. Yes. Stebbins, H. Thorne stabbed his dad and then sued him. True. But yes, isn't it funny how these things pop up? These lawsuits, they started affecting the world. They started affecting because, they cite this case, but fucking Acer Thorn lost. Acer Thorn fucking lost these cases because he normally ends up suing somebody and pleads Google, and Google comes in and just fucking kills it. Let me see here. Oh, what's going on here? Marylander says these streams are down to a couple hundred from a couple thousand. I had a couple thousand before. I'm like, I must have missed that. I'm going to say if I get to 1,000, I'm popping bottles. I am not Ian Runkle. You must be thinking of Runkle or Nick Rekieta because I am not that guy. Trust me. I am not that guy. I wish I could be, but I'm not. Let me say, Ethan Klein attempts to minimize this reality by characterizing Denim's reaction as surface level. Oh, it is because Denims is a retard. It's misinformation, which it was, and unsubstantiated. I don't know. However, the fairness inquiry doesn't ask whether the criticism is just or accurate or mean-spirited. Is it the kind that copyright's designed to protect? And that's true. You could be 100% wrong. You could be completely, you could be telling lies and say, that's not true, and tell the whole story. I can still transform it. Yeah, Stacy is correct. I'm thinking I was up to a couple hundred from a couple of tens. Yes, a couple dozen. I mean, yes, if we're covering when we had shooting, we did the ice shootings and stuff, sure, but no, man, no, I am not well sought after here. I'm not meme copium. So I'm not Ian Runkle, like I said. If you guys want some good content, Ian Runkle does great content. They say whether Dem's commentary was correct, sophisticated, or to TEI's liking is ultimately irrelevant. And once again, they try to cite Ethan Klein's case back at them. They say irrespective of whether one finds second necessary, articulate, or well executed, the secondary work is nonetheless criticism and commentary. That's true. You can do that. They say the inquiry in the first factor is whether the new work merely supersedes the objects of the original creation. Well, remember, Denims has said, I want to do this so you don't have to go give that guy money and watch it unethically. Her whole argument was taking care of people there. So, and that's the biggest thing, 250. Where is my... Yeah, I don't understand how she can get out of the watch it here so you don't have to give them views. That is a massive, massive, massive problem. Massive problem here. That's a... And Zero Flux, I prefer my content mediocre. Well, thank you, sir. It's good to see you here tonight. Good to see you here tonight. You had a question earlier. Was the Comey indictment one of Pam Body's works getting flushed from the pipeline? No, this is just purely Trump wants to make people suffer and spend money. Because they didn't have to do this. Like, they can just get rid of it. Like, this was something sitting in a file somewhere. They could have just gone up to the shredder and gone like, shred it and be done. So no, that wasn't necessary. That is not necessary at all. Well, let's keep going. So ultimately here, they say the purpose of the nuke and Denims live stream are undeniably distinct, if not diametrically opposed. I mean, based on that argument, once again, you can make the argument of, I don't want this guy to make money. And Ethan Klein's like, I want to make money. You could argue that is a... That I wonder if they get to the arguments when they go to court, because remember, debtors will get to respond to this. I almost feel like they're going to have to make that argument of, I want to steal money out of this man's pocket is a diametrically opposed purpose. Because technically it is. Technically it is. So the nuke advances a specific editorial message concerning Hassan Piker. The spirit of Denim's live stream took that thesis as its target and subjected to real-time opposition and counter-arguments, at times in a mocking manner. Ethan concedes this point by alleging Denim's attempts to use the nuke for the exact opposite purpose. Notice he's saying attempts. She's trying, but it doesn't work because she's admitting to what she's doing. They point out here, by extension, when the original work advances an argument and the secondary work exists to challenge it, they serve different purposes by definition. I don't know about, once again, I wouldn't make that argument here. I wouldn't make that argument. Jillian says, did the troll leave or did someone 86 it? We don't ban people here. We don't time people out. We're not, we run Somalia rules. We're like the Bakara market in Black Hawk Down. As long as you're not Fed posting, you can pretty much do what you want. So the different purpose is equally mandated, but a fundamentally different viewing experience for Denim's audience. Yeah, it still doesn't work. Where the nuke is scripted and edited, presenting a linear argument, Denims was live, unscripted, and broadcast in which she offered spontaneous reactions. Notice they're like, she's just wacky and zany. Engaged with her audience through a live chat and provided real-time commentary interspersed with tangential discussions and crosstalk. No. Denims paused 211 times to offer real-time commentary. Her reaction ran 235 minutes, almost 2.5 times longer than the original. Some of Denim's pauses ran up to 8 minutes. Many range between 1 and 5. Notice you're reiterating the same point again. 4 times Denim's pulled the nuke down to do other content. They talk about courts have found that this type of live unfiltered commentary, which is a hallmark, supports a finding of transformative use. Yes, citing Stebbins again. Remember, Stebbins was suing people. Acer Thorne sues, and he always loses because Acer Thorne abuses the copyright system. Maddie says, we could time people. You guys can time people as long as it's for the right purpose. But nobody ever gets banned. No one ever gets banned. And timing out should be sparsely used. The only thing I don't like is spamming. That just gets annoying. Like in Stebbins, Denim's live stream here a completely different purpose and provided a different viewing experience. Not really. It cannot be generally disputed Denim's reaction made a vastly transformative use of the nuke. I think it very much can. I think it very, very much can. I think the de minimis commercial nature, guys, I'm saying de minimis means so slight. Nature of Denim's use is incidental. It does not weigh out its transformative character. Denim's had like 50,000 people watching her. She made a ton of fucking money off this. She made a ton of money. Her use is not sufficiently commercial. It was, and she was denying Ethan Klein commercial access. So, yeah, pretty important there. I'd argue it's very commercial. It's not de minimis at all. It's substantial, because that's really the antonym to de minimis is substantial. Ethan alleges the use was commercial, as Denims is eligible to be paid subscriptions, donos, and ad revenue. They claim these carry minimal weight. The commercial nature is outweighed by the live stream's transformativeness, but it's not really in the situation. It's not. It's not really at all. Churches says 50,000 viewers seems pretty devastating. It is, but when you go to the content nuke for Hassan Piker and Ethan Klein, don't fucking copy. Don't copy strike me, Lex Juther. Do not. When you go to Ethan Klein's content nuke for Hassan Piker, it is 3.856 million views as of about a year and a little bit more. So there you go. That is there. So that is where you can go from there. Now I talk about where here is this the use is highly transformative. I don't know. Commercialism recedes to the background of the analysis. Yes, the more transformative it is, it becomes less important. And they go through different, there's a bunch of cases here. They find the work's commercial qualities become less important when it becomes transformative. Yes, because the more transformative it is, the less it has an effect on the commercial nature of anything. And they're citing another case, Hustler versus Moral Majority Incorporated. And that's due to Larry Flint engaging in satire and parody. And they say, even assuming that the use had a commercial purpose, the presumption of unfairness can be rebutted by the characteristics of the use. Once again, citing Stebbins. Once again, citing Acerthorn. And they go on through this. And they point out, in any event, Denim's live streams were incidental at best. Denims is a live streamer. That is her job. So she's doing this to make money as part of her living. That seems pretty substantial. This is part of her job. I would argue this makes it even worse for her, because she could have done anything else but this. I think this is a massive concession by Denims that I think is going to hurt her. If I'm Ethan Klein's attorney, this is this is free real estate. You just gave it away. She is always eligible to receive these and advertising revenue during her Twitch broadcast, regardless of content. But until she does content, that doesn't happen. And here, she did it with the express intent to get one kick, one super chat, one PayPal, one bit, one like, as Darkside Phil would say, or YouTube's Venmo, YouTube Streamlabs, PayPal, Venmo, to quote the Steel Toe Morning Show. I just don't understand for her why you'd want to point this out, because this is her job. So she's doing things that make her money. You're acknowledging she wouldn't do stuff that nobody would give a shit about. So the commercial value for her is actually important. I'm just saying that this is, yes. USS Mariner. Okay. Thank you. One like, one super chat, one sub, no, one race. DSP, no! Well, actually, it's like DSP might be getting based at that point, so. Failed falsehood merchant says, some people leave. Don't worry about other people. I'm like Rip. If you want to fight somebody, come fight me. I'll fight you all fucking day. You worry about fighting people. But this is just, I don't know how they think this helps her, but we'll move on. The revenue Denims is alleged to be eligible to receive from the live stream reaction was a byproduct of the platform on which she regularly broadcast, and not the direct product of exploiting the nuke. Had she done something else, she would not have made the money she did. She did this for the intentional purpose. Like, this blew up her channel. Most of the time, she doesn't get the views or the money. She doesn't get the money. She doesn't get the power. And then she does not get the women, to quote Tony Montana. I'll fight you outside of Cyrax's house. We'll get killed over there. That's kind of in a shitty neighborhood, man. Now, is Denims automatically going to lose from this point? No. As her attorney committed malpractice? No. But that is not a fatal conceit, but it's a pretty big concession. That's a very big concession, I would argue. The documentary and informal nature of the nuke favors fair use. So they're saying this addresses two aspects: the extent at which is creative and whether it's unpublished. Okay. Works that are creative in nature are closer to the core of intended copyright protection than are more fact-based works. So they're arguing yes, Ethan Klein, Ethan Klein, PhD in communism studies here at YouTube University. Yes. They say the Ninth Circuit has found this factor has not been terribly significant in the overall fair balancing use. And that's true. Like, what it is or what it's not. They say it Dr. Seuss versus Penguin Books. And that's still good case law in the Ninth Circuit. It's actually good case law copyright-wise. Ethan Klein characterized the nuke as a tragicomic documentary. Even a tragicomic, the substance of the nuke is overwhelming documentary and informational. Yes, so it's like, it's like June the King. It's all a documentary on the quartering or Phil. 6 of its 7 sections are devoted almost entirely to real-world events and constitute quintessential political discourse. The nuke does incorporate edited montages, but they indisputably serve the larger informative purpose of the rest of the work. Which is, he does have a lot in there, but arguing this is like a documentary, like you're trying really... For something that doesn't matter, you're wasting a lot of time on this part. You're wasting a lot of time to make that. You're burning daylight on that one. I don't know why. The amount used was reasonable and necessary for Denims' commentary. The third factor also weighs, and it asks whether the amount and substantiality of the portion used as a whole are reasonable in relationship to the purpose of the copying. And it says this analysis will harken back to the first fair use factor, which weighs strongly towards fair use. It does not. And the extent of permissible copying varies with the purpose and character of the use. Yeah. Okay. Well, quantity alone is not determinative. And it says no matter how long or large the allegedly infringing work is, it's got to be tailored to a proper purpose. Even copying entire work does not weigh against fair use if the alleged infringer takes no more than is necessary. Well, here Denims showed the entirety of the nuke on approximately 3/4 of her screen, and her live stream ran approximately 3 hours and 52 minutes. As discussed below, there's a couple reasons why she does. It says, first, it was necessary to accomplish a transformative purpose. Because it was a real-time critique of the nuke. She could have critiqued it like an hour later. She could have critiqued it on a 30-minute delay. No, Denims did it like live. She could have done it a day later, 5 hours later. But no, she did it right away. That's very important. That's very important. To comment on critique a work of clips of the original may be used. Without using actual clips, the commentary and critique here would lose context and utility. Yeah. It's just like if I start reading this and I'm not sharing the screen, and I say without actually using the clips, the commentary and critique here would lose context and utility. Yes. You can't do anything about it if you can't see it with me. I can read it to you. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. See, chat, that was an intentional boomerang. That was an intentional boomerang. She could not have offered a running critique of the nuke with factual claims and arguments, without showing what she was reacting to, and thus her criticism by its nature required reference to the original, all of it. Once again, the Acerthorn case where they used all of his shit. And the extent that Denims livestream parodied or mocked the nuke, phrase allows taking a work's heart in order to conjure up the original and achieve one's parodic purpose, which is true, and that's from Equals 3, but also Sargon. When Sargon did the thing about Aquila, he literally took the thing and ran it backwards. And literally cut it up and told a different story of how this worked. And why is this not? Oh, damn it. It's like, it's not easy to find anymore. Oh, well, that sucks. But anyways, Sargon took all the parts of that video, and it's kind of like what I did with all the, when Nick lost his search warrant, I kind of clipped it all up and put it together. But he also took them and then rearranged the order so it tells a different story. Because in Aquila Hughes' case, she put together a video recording of I thought she was going to win. And it was her gloating and getting ready in 2016 on election night. She was recording all the date. And for some reason, she put it out afterwards. She's like, I thought we were going to win. And she showed it all. Well, Sargon then clipped it up where, like she completely didn't completely aloof to what's going on. It was hilarious. That says the second ratio of commentary to original confirms the copying was well tailored to a critical purpose. Denim's reaction ran nearly 4 hours, more than double the nuke's runtime. And it says that this demonstrative created by charting the timestamps is part of the complaint, illustrates the relationship between the original and the reaction aligns with these legal principles and Denim's commentary. And this right here is apparently Denim's attempt to show how this works. How this works here. And she's trying to show the difference. And they say the total original is 1 hour, 42 minutes. Denims is 3 hours and 54 minutes. It's like, end of content nuke if played without interruption would end right here. Okay. And you're like, yeah, no. Yeah, no. No. And this doesn't make, this is, you do all this and that's great. That's great. You do this. But you said you did this with the intent to keep him from making money. So this is helpful. This is helpful. But you already said you were doing this to fuck him over. Kite saying she's comparing apples to oranges. He had permission, she didn't. Well, it's not even the issue of Ethan Klein having permission. Because Ethan Klein didn't need permission. It's his own stuff. And he was Hassan never went after Ethan Klein because he knew it was fair use. But Denim's viewing of this was not fair use of, on top of fair use. Oh, he gave him permission. Ethan gave him permission. Oh yeah. Hassan doing it. Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes. Ethan wanted Hassan to comment on it. Yes. That's because they're fighting. Shinobuba says documenting your felony is a wild strategy. This isn't a felony. This isn't criminal copyright. This is just civil. Remember, this is a civil lawsuit. So there's no felony involved. But this is just Cope right here. This is all Copenhagen. The breadth of Denim's engagement and commentary is also reflected in the own characteristics of the live stream, which allege Denim's unique reactions on topics from geopolitics to production quality. Oh, yeah, because when I think of geopolitics, I think of fucking Denims. I think of this woman who, dresses like a hoe. That's totally who I think of. And the runtime disparity here. And they say the nuke was shown from beginning to end. And it says, despite that the nuke was shown from beginning to end. Notice, chat, this is the entirety of the nuke. Is even clearer when viewed through the lens of the first factor. Denims spent time pausing to mock and parody the nuke's rhetorical techniques. From what I watch at Denims, no, this is bad. Respond to her chat, pull up extrinsic sources, mean external, engage in extended tangential discussions. In other words, because the extent permissible copying varies with purpose and character of the use, the quantitative amount is diluted by the volume of her original content. Now, here's the thing. Compared to Frogan, yeah, because Frogan, they're like a lot of this gray, this is all gray, not blue. Casey Tron is even worse because Casey Tron just sat there and started, bong ripping. So, yes, Casey Tron and Frogan, their cases sucked worse than Denims's. But Denim's case as well is bad, and she's going to lose and should lose. It's just the other two were more blatant. So. Now they point out here. The nuke was embedded with a far larger work whose predominant content was Denim's own commentary. Was it really? The predominant content was Ethan Klein wasn't making money. Because the commentary cannot exist without the material being commented upon, which is true. And they said this is not a market substitute for the nuke. She literally said it was going to be. She said it was going to be, guys. She said it was going to be a market protection or replacement. They say where secondary use is not a substitute for the original and does not deprive the copyright holder of a derivative use, the fourth factor weighs in favor of fair use. She literally said she was going to do this. She literally said, I'm doing this to keep Ethan Klein from making money. Come watch it with me if you want to watch it ethically. Meaning you don't want to watch it to give Ethan Klein the views and the clicks and money. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean here? Come on now. Come on now. I don't know how they're getting away with. I don't know how they're getting away with this at this point. I don't know. I don't know how she thinks this is going to work at this point. I really don't. So let's just ultimately it's she said it. She said it. So ultimately, they point out transformative works are less likely to have adverse impact than a work that merely supersedes a copyrighted work. Okay, but once again, she says, for instance, a lethal parody like a scathing theater review kills the man for the original, but does not produce a harm cognizable under the Copyright Act. And that's the thing. Like if I review something and it's brutal, that's not replacement. And then the next point here, though, the courts have to distinguish between biting criticism that suppresses demand and copyright infringement, which usurps it. Denims literally said she was doing this for a purpose. She's doing this. She's literally doing this to steal it away. She's literally doing this to steal it away. And it says a defendant usurps the original's work's market when the infringer's target audience and the nature of that content is the same as the original. But she admits that because she says you're instead of watching it with Ethan, watch it with me. Because if Denims had not streamed this, Casey Tron had not streamed this, and Frogan had not streamed it, guess where they would have gone? They would have watched Ethan Klein's content nuke on his channel. They would have. They would have. So this is a big fucking problem. And Luke, you're saying here, yes, it's a balancing test, but she's literally failing all the arguments because once again, her comments and her intent is clearly established that it is contrary to any of the elements. So it's a balancing test. And finally, you could say, well, we're claiming all of this. Your actions state otherwise. Your comments state otherwise. Boom. The scale tips. So I think that's her problem here. But yes, citing Hughes versus Benjamin from the Southern District of New York. This is Sargon versus Aquila. Sargon versus Aquila. And guys, yes, Benjamin is Carl Benjamin. You may know him as the manager of your Applebee's. That's it, though. Sargon's a good guy. I like Sargon. I certainly would hang out with him. This is like Jeremy telling people he's going to strike you down. Yeah, pretty much. You told us what you're going to do. Pretty much what you're going to do. Oh, you're saying you're finding out that I'm moving to Florida? No, I'm not licensed there. Florida does not let you. You have to take the Florida bar to get licensed down there. So, we're probably going to take the bar in February. So it's going to be a little while. Shogun says, I get that reference. Yes. It's funny how Sargon has one of the most cited copyright cases specifically for this point. Yes, but nobody who watches Sargon was going to watch Aquila Hughes. Number one. Number two, Sargon literally took something that was produced and aired. He didn't watch it live, took it later, chopped it up. Sargon took it and chopped it up and reordered it to make a new thing. That's literally like if I took a Taylor Swift song and reordered it and took all the words in the song and made it tell a different story. That's far different than what Taylor Swift made. But I'm also not watching it live as it's happening. I'm also not telling people, watch this instead so you don't have to watch Aquila. Once again, those things are very different. There are some similarities here, but once again, Denim's comments kind of ruin all this for her, in my opinion. Ultimately, that's the biggest problem here. The alleged intended, they provide a market substitute, pointing to vague statements by Denims or her viewers. Vague? She says literally, I want you to watch it here so you don't give him money. Like, this, and they say, even if Denim's criticism dissuaded viewers from watching the nuke directly, that is at most biting criticism that suppresses demand, not infringement. No, she literally said, I want you to watch it here so you can watch it in an ethical setting. You don't have to give Ethan money. That is, I can't wait for Ethan Klein and his attorney to just fucking nuke this. No pun intended. So, Matt saying, can you work Pro Hoc Vice under Matt? Pro Hoc Vice is meant to be temporary for like a case. You don't generally get to use it for like 6-7 months. You can't do that. Now, a case could go 6-7 months, but I can't take on an entire caseload and say I'm like, just visiting. Pro Hoc Vice means you're just passing through, more or less. Think about it like that. Denim's live stream cannot plausibly serve as a market substitute. Anyone seeking to watch a nuke, a scripted, edited 1 hour, 42-minute documentary, would have a totally different experience watching Denim's nearly 4-hour fragmented start and stop live stream. Yes, Denim's viewers are fucking idiots. That's not really the point. Although it's nice you agree. And, a person wishing to purchase the sheet music for Magic in order to play or perform the song would necessarily purchase the sheet music for the song itself from the owner of the performance rights, not the sheet music for Rainmaker. And they say, to this end, presentation is fundamentally distinct. In the live stream occurred on Twitch, an interactive chat-centric streaming platform, as opposed to a pre-made YouTube video, which is being premiered. YouTube is also chat-centric. I mean, literally right now, I'm looking at an entire screen right over here, chat, of stuff, and I'm watching my chat. And how does, we're engaging with chat. This is, this is, I read chat. I know. Radcon says we could Smash AT's next filing. And it says, and a large section of the screen depicts Denims in her live chat. Evidencing on its face, remember, they already said 3/4 of it's Ethan Klein, which means a large 25%. 25% is not large. As a large person, that is 25% is not large. That's actually pretty small. Evidence on the face of fundamentally different market function. You said Ethan Klein was 75% of the screen. They said more of, we're going to just, hold on here. I think he's. No, where did it said 75? So I can't see it. SEVENT. Yeah, I can't see it again, but they admitted at one point it's more than 75%. Like it's like Luke says, Sean, make yourself 25% of the screen. I don't know how I could do that. Let me see here. How would I do that if I was gonna try? Probably that. This would make me 25% of the screen, I think. Probably a little less, but you get the idea. Like that's, not like it's not going to work that way. So I'm going to put myself back to where I was, though. Beep. It's important. We'll go back to the way we were. Go back to the way we were, chat. Joe Stone says that's 1/4. It's pretty close. The sole arguably creative section is a 5. They go back through here. Oh shit. I was reading when we've already been through. Okay, so it says more of the audience for the two works are not coextensive. They would have watched it on Ethan's if Denims didn't do it. It is flatly impossible if users who turn in for live rebuttal content might be the same or overlap. No, they would have watched Ethan's Klein thing. They would have sat there and screamed under. They would have just gone, Reed! No, that's not true! I love Hassan! I love terrorism! Reed! The Jew man is bad! That's what they would have done if Denims didn't exist. That's how they would have done it. By alleging Denims used the nuke for the exact opposite purpose, they acknowledged Denims' live stream targeted a fundamentally different audience that was interested in criticism. No. It also flies in the face of TI's claim of lost views and ad revenue, which is also simply impossible, in which the court should disregard as conclusory. There's no rational basis for Ethan's claim that an audience who tuned in for Denims' critical scoffing and alt-left leaning reaction would have watched the nuke directly. They would have. 100% they would have. And it says, for instance, in Hughes, the court addressed this exact issue and found the fourth factor weighed heavily in favor of fair use. Yes. Sargon's, yes. Because nobody was going to watch Aquila, because nobody fucking watched Aquila. But you know how many people hate watch Ethan Klein? A shitload of them do. We could see in the H3 snark. They have like all these times they stream Ethan Klein and they watch it because they fucking hate him, but they don't want to give him views. And Denims' own statements. I'm letting you watch it here so you don't have to give him money. Like, they clearly are admitting to it. And it's different here. Yes, in Sargon's case, his target audience was political conservatives and libertarians. Is obviously not the same as the target audience of generally political liberals. And it says, moreover, SJW levels of awareness is comprised entirely of portions of we thought she would win. Yeah, and it's a little different. It's very different in how that works. It's a very different setup here. And here is here's the other thing, though. This is the video. This is Sargon's video, guys. And this is here we go. So this is Aquila, and this is on the night of Hillary Clinton's thing here. So we're gonna watch this. I think Sargon's gonna come after me. We'll see what happens.
Hi, YouTube. It's Aquila, obviously, and we are at the Javits Center in Midtown Manhattan. It's where Hillary Clinton is having her speech party, whatever. There's a block party outside. We're here with press, although it was very difficult to get these. It's its own story, but we will show you what we can of the evening. I'm just personally really excited because to be
also, guys, this is only 2 minutes long.
A woman in the year 2016 after having a black president for 8 years, and now we have Hillary, who could potentially be our next president, and here's hoping. It started out as a very exciting evening and
notice this is the morning after,
full of hope that we would be in a historic moment under a glass ceiling, getting to be in the room where it's happening with Hillary. And honestly, it started this high and then just crept down until forever. There are plenty of people whose best interest is to keep everybody divided and to keep them hating people who don't look like them and to give them a scapegoat. You have to question people about the things that they say. You have to correct people when they're sharing false information on Facebook. You have to stand up to your family members who are being racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic. We can't live in a society where there are two Americas and there's one where there are people who are educated who are afraid to talk to their bigoted relatives, because Black women got information. We voted for Hillary. So the onus is on everybody now to actually step up. I don't want to hear, I'm scared to talk to my family because they're my family. No, I get that, but you can't wait till people are burning or hanging from trees or being killed to say something. And so, 2016 is the doo-dooest year in the history of my entire life. I think what's helpful for me is I live in New York. I'm surrounded by like-minded people. People here are disgusted, and we're not going to take it.
Well, there you go. Also, guys, Dogs of War, fucking amazing movie. But yeah, that's what Sargon did. Sargon did an entirely different thing there than what Denims has done. So it's entirely different. Yes, I hear hemp is a wonderful fiber. Yes. You're self-reporting, Aquila? Yes. Yes, that is true as well. That is true as well, chat. But yes, it completely failed, and it completely went against what she thought was going to happen. Oh, let's see here. Drex has comments about this woman. Oh, he would. He would. Shido Booba says, I want you denaturalized and deported. I'm not even American. Oh. Yes, TND. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. And the idea the audience abandoned her progressive YouTube channel to watch the derisively titled SJW Levels of Awareness. And it's simply because it contains parts of work. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Aquila's people would never go watch Sargon. They wouldn't. But a lot of people then went to go watch Aquila's thing and watch her mauled and seethe and piss and shit and cry. Because it was fucking hilarious. So Sargon probably drove a lot of views to her as well. Finally, Ethan's allegation that Denim's conduct did become widespread does not change the analysis. Even if the practice of reacting to the nuke were to become unrestricted and widespread due to Denim's live stream, it remains utterly implausible that the market or market potential for the nuke itself would materially be affected for the reasons above. They're saying this is all in Denim's favor. It's not, though. So, in conclusion, they're saying the direct copyright infringement of the nuke fails as a matter of law under the fair use doctrine. Denims requests the court grant her motion without leave to amend. Meaning that they want the court to grant it, and the court could grant it, but they could also say, hey, Ethan, I'll give you a chance to retool it and come back. Kind of like what happened with Alyssa Mercanti. I'm not going to dismiss it all the way. I'm going to let you try to figure some things out. Probably not going to happen here. This is going to be all or nothing. And I think Ethan's still going to win. What she did was not excusable. Yeah, Sargon edited to change. Oh yeah, well yes, that video was reclipped in a different order. It's entirely differently clipped. He changed the order of it all. So Sargon did a ton to it. Like I said, it's like if I took a Taylor Swift song and cut it all up and reordered it to tell a different story. Not just one word, but I took the entire thing, all like 500 words in a song, and completely reorganized it. It somehow made it new. That would be completely transformative. So, capitalized motion looks weird, almost like self-congratulatory. No, because it's an actual thing. It's an identifiable document. So that's why it's done that way. They're saying no amendment can change the result, therefore leave to amend should be denied. And that's why they're saying no amendments can change it. Yeah, I think Denim's going to lose, and she should lose here. Man, I forgot how insufferable Aquila was. Yeah, well, yes, and she ended up, guys, remember, if you guys weren't aware, Aquila used double down, and she ended up owing Sargon attorney's fees. And she refused to pay him, and Sargon basically broke her back, and she had to pay. And she was able to fundraise all the fees. So, yeah, she kind of faded off in obscurity. Let's see here. Let's go through some of the super chats we have. Okay. T-Rex Travels for $9.99. Thank you, man. It says, I've been watching too much sector stuff because when Sean said that stat about the hood, I couldn't help but thinking, if you really want to know the truth about it, said in the style of Ethan Ralph. Yes. The sector is dangerous. Can we put cream on denims to make her better? No. JCXCs, how do you allege fair use when your video says you wanted to deprive him of monetary gains? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how she's going to get around that. I don't know how that works ultimately. Jefferson Post has been a member for 20 months. Says Denims don't have that filing fee. Chetta. Yes. Very true. And Eric Fulham says, that's not true, bish. You ain't no transformer. Yes. Jefferson Post says for $2, internet beef can now cite internet beef case law. Yes. Lolcows can cite lolcows. It's a lolcow anthology. It's a stable of lolcow law. Sadly. VTubing enthusiasts for $10. Thank you, by the way. Also, T-Rex, thank you as well. Says, I largely don't believe in copyright or intellectual property. Even Thomas Jefferson supported intellectual property. I'm a supporter of pirate politics. Yeah, but that stifles creativity. So, although I'm a far right-wing lunatic who doesn't like denims, I'm sympathetic to a degree. I mean, I understand, but, that piracy, you could create something and then, like, Apple could steal it from you. It's not just you people stealing stuff from Apple. You could invent something and then be attacked. Like, your patents could be under attack. Your copyrights, your trademarks could be under attack. Is that really what you want? I don't want that world. I don't want that world. Because it's going to be everybody oppressing down. The Tyrell Corporation is going to be fucking people over. It's not, people just going out being cavalier brigands. Luke says, hey, chat, I just had a practice driving test and passed it. You don't have your license, mate? Oof. Get your license. Quit being a walker. Has Shaw gotten a Sargon yet? No, we were just getting to it. Hi, Luke. Jefferson Post says, seems her lawyer got the pound to the table stage. Yes, pretty much. That's where we're at. And Ethan Klein's attorney is going to fucking shoot back with both barrels, and we're going to get some good filing. We're going to get some Keno response out of that. And guys, honestly, I thought this was important to get through because it's a pretty big case. We'll see what happens here. And a couple people asked me about it, and I thought this would be important to cover on its own. Monrez, it will. Gifting wide sob. It's like the there's that clip of the guy who made the airsoft gun that says "ew" every time he shoots it. Hold on, we'll watch this just for 1 second because it's fucking hilarious. This is actually pretty funny here, chat. That's kind of funny. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Where is? Okay, here we go. This is a guy with an airsoft gun that he made, and this is kind of funny here. Just listen to this. It's kind of he made an airsoft gun that says "ew" when he shoot it. Kind of funny, kind of funny. And then he where's his
You a secret you want to tell me, or bro? This thing was
let me
expensive. Ay ay ay. It's turning.
hold on, chat. I'm trying to find the right spot here. Hold on. Where's the next best part? Okay, yeah, here we go. This is actually kind of funny here.
The shoot is gonna go.
And wait till you hear what it sounds like when you flick it into full fun mode. Anyway, we're at a brand new
That's actually pretty funny. It is pretty funny here. So
epic site to go. Our perfect play over 30 and they're building out in real time. Your creativity
yeah,
and
you can't get to work. But anyways, it moans when you put a new magazine into it. The gun also comes, yeah. I know. Hold on here. Where is? Let me. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, here is this guy. This is actually the funnier part. Here we go. It moans when you put a magazine into it. Too bad it's not a P90 in that color. Yes. JC says, Belgium, that's too close to French. Well, yes, they speak French in Belgium. Yes, they do. And they also speak Flemish and Walloon. Oh. Yes, the hentai auto, yes. Yes. Oh, yeah, that's pretty funny. Damn weebs. I know, but it's fucking hilarious out of that. Yes. Was that Pippa? No, that would be Pippa's airsoft gun, though. Yes, buy an FN, get mocked for buying French. Fuck you. I mean, yes, technically FN is Fabrique Nationale, made in Belgium. Brussels is 40% Muslim now. Yes, really. I've heard that, Gene. Yes, very, very. Is blue and pink. Yes. Nico's like, I meant one of the stickers on the mag. Oh, yes. Yes, they talk to each other in English. Yes. That's T-Man's airsoft gun. Oh, yeah. There we go. There we go. And then T-Rex Travels for $4.99 says, I didn't know that Ray William Johnson, formerly of Equals 3 fame, had a foundational lawsuit in copyright law. Yes. Yes. That, it's interesting when you see these names, and at first you're like, oh, Hassanadeh versus Klein. You're like, who? Ethan Klein. You're like, wow. Ethan Klein's been at this for a long time. Aquila versus Sargon. That was from 2020, guys, and it went to like 2022. 2023 almost. But think about it. Like, January, like going after Maduro seems like 10 years ago. 2020 seems like ancient history. 2017 and the Hillary election has been a lifetime. It's like in Titanic. I've waited 80 years for this. Like, it feels like it was 80 years ago. Time flies. Time flies, chat. You're getting old. You're getting old. So, tell us your Comey thoughts. James Comey's a piece of shit and deserves to, be in fear of his life for what he did for Crossfire Hurricane and undermining democracy in America. But the lawsuit's garbage. It's bullshit. He should not be indicted. So even though you hate the man, we still, there's multiple ways he should face man's justice. Just not here. He should have been prosecuted for his lies he told to Congress, but hey, whatever. Nero says Sargon versus Aquila was 2020. Yes. Yes. It was 2020. Yep. And we'll go back to it here real quick. Where is it? Hold on, chat. We're looking for it. Yeah, here we go. Sargon versus Aquila. We'll delete this out here so you can see. Hughes versus Benjamin, 437, federal supplement third, 382. SDNY 2020. Yep, it's old, chat. It's old. Comey should become Cummy in jail, yes, but for different reasons, not this one. I mean, if he's going to get in trouble for that, me last night talking about how to launch a mortar attack against somebody, that would 100% count as a threat then. All this gay 8647 or 8646, all that shit was gay. Like I said, guys, last night me talking about how you could plan a mortar attack and use like highly fragmentary like sleeves on the weapons, or you could take chains and every couple of links saw it to it almost like it break apart. So when it blows up, you've got these big pieces of chain just like whoa, 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 whipping through the air like helicopter blades. Like last night discussing how you could do an attack like that and how you'd operate a van. You could probably get within a kilometer of an area and just launch one of those, or do it Neville Werfer style and have like 9 of them just like thump, 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 and just toss them up in the air. Yeah, like if we're talking about that, I could. No, so that shouldn't be. He's an edgy boy, and he's a homo and a traitor to the United States, but not for this. Not for this. Crossfire Hurricane, yes. This, no. But think about it. Send your 1488 super chats. Send them all in. No matter, it says Cash Patel, arrest him. Oh. Mad Vandal says 2020 was the day of the ruling. Yes. Oh, okay. I forgot if it was 2018 or 2020. I forget it's a while. But yeah. Yes, insert the Matt Damon growing old clip. Yes. But I'm not joking, though. Last night we talked about that. Titty connoisseur. I mean, like if you wanted to do these attacks, attacking a controlled, enclosed building is stupid. Attacking an outdoor political rally from up to a mile away makes a lot more sense to me. Even a kilometer away. Think about you could park something 1,000 feet away or 1,000 yards away from somebody, and just, have the roof roll back, just take a van and you just have the roof slide back, the tube sitting right there. Boom. You shoot your little barracks buster. I mean, the guys in fucking Syria figured out how to make homemade mortars. You just mortar into the crowd, even if you don't kill, you're trying to kill the president. Even if you didn't kill Trump, but you mortared a crowd and you killed 150 people in the crowd. You're going to whoa, man. You want some maximum damage. I mean, and ultimately, even with a artillery weapon, you're never, absent a laser, you're never going to be shoop, right on the spot. So you're going to have to kind of fire for effect and hope you kind of carpet the area. So, just saying. But based on that, I could get charged with a crime. It's why? I haven't done anything wrong. Remember I said though, you guys can somebody could fire a gun off nearby, and or even in Ronin, have a simulator set up that starts pop, 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 pop. Everybody starts panicking and running, and you start lobbing mortars at the exits, or as the motorcade's leaving, what's the closest airport going to be? And you can, Ohio, every county has an airport. There are going to be some helicopters nearby, or how they got there. And you just start fucking mortaring out how CFC was saying how the security was all up front. It wasn't, though. Like, the cat team, all those guys were on hand, and the back door was protected. It's just, yeah. Why don't you just make your own open source cancer cure? You can't patent something that's publicly published because it would cost way too much money. It'd be a priority, yeah. Because you don't have the money. Nobody would give you money for that if there's no money to be made. Bob says Sean von Clausewitz. I mean, like, if you're going to talk about attacking people, that's how you can do it. Drones aren't going to be effective. Drones are scary, but you can only kill so many people with a drone. Like I said, you figure out how to launch like a propane tank, that's something to be afraid of. And you turn that into a fragmentation bomb. Woo! Now I'm scared. Now I'm scared of being out in the open. Because the Secret Service, they could jam drones and knock them out of the sky. They got good enough drone technology. Not worried about that. Yeah, the attacker had a little Reddit understanding of security. I understand, but I'm just saying, like, if you had a better understanding of security, you would attack him either in the open or when he's in transit. Attacking him when they're entrenched is never a good idea. If drone needs swarm. Problem is with a drone swarm, that's hard to control, and you need a big footprint for that. I could put a mortar in in the back of a panel van and just let it sit and have it on a timer. And what time is Trump going live? Oh, he's going live like at 6 o'clock. Okay, so you wait, like, you have the timer set for like an hour into that. And like at 7 p.m., thoomph, boom. You have it set, like, now you're going to take advantage of the timer. But even if that didn't hit him and it was late and Trump was late, you scare the fuck out of everybody. Scare the fuck out of everybody at that point. I'm just saying, that would be far more devastating than a couple of drones. Drones would be easy to attack. Yes, you could decently make some EFPs and go through most armored vehicles too. But I guarantee you, Trump's motorcade's meant to protect against an EFP. I bet the Beast could take RPG hits at this point. I don't think it could probably take a hit from a Javelin, but I bet it could take a hit from a low grade EFP. But it doesn't matter if I put if I make a big enough IED, you're still gonna feel it. And being bounced around a car is why you get killed. Anyway, V2Ming says there's gonna be a model stream tonight. Yeah, we'll hang out for a little bit. We'll hang out for a little bit tonight. Started clearing up my schedule, started withdrawing from things. So yeah, we actually have an open day tomorrow. So we'll do that. Let's see here. So, but that's it. That is it, guys. It probably fields unpatented research in armor. Well, it's probably things that nobody knows. But also, there are patents that get classified. There are many classified patents out there. Molten copper IEDs are brutal. Yes. Yes. And yeah, we'll watch Meme Copium as we work on it because we got some stuff to get done, chat. I got to get that put together so we can, like, be ready to move. So, let's see here. Let's put this all together. Like I said, all that we just talked about there about ambushing a presidential convoy and all that, that would make me in trouble too. That's a problem. I don't like that. I would not like that outcome. So, yeah. Yes, former layer arrested with a 40mm Baldo launcher trying to storm the White House. Yes, that's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. Oh my God. That'd be so cringe. I would deserve everything that happens to me, chat, if that were the case. Let's see here. Okay. Learn from the Red Army faction. Well, it didn't go so well. That's like saying learn from Bader Meinhof. That didn't go well for them either. I mean, they had some ideas, but Brigado Rosso, the Red Brigades. I mean, they captured the general, American general in the 80s, but the Carabinieri went and saved him. So I wouldn't trust them. There's all kinds of things. Did we discuss the fraud warrants in Minneapolis yet? No. Tomorrow night we are going to do a Trump show. We're going to talk about some stuff tomorrow night. But yes, apparently there was a massive fraud sweep, and Tim Walz was congratulating it. It's like, I thought those were all fake. Huh. Oh, wow. Wow. Jefferson says, not a lot of people bring up the option of gases. Gases aren't as effective, though, man. The amount of gas you would need if you were trying to, like, chlorine gas or phosgene gas, a gathering would be massive and would be so hard to predict. You'd have wind problems. And even, like, if you were to do, like, artillery, that's not, no. Just high fragmentation, mortar attacks into a facility, like, into an event, is the way to cause maximum devastation. You know, if you could, like, Nebelwerfer, that would be, like, the best way to do it. Just like a big fucking trash cans flying through the air full of bombs. That would be the way to do it. Yes, we are going to talk about that on. We're going to talk about that coming up too. Ag, yes, we're starting the use of FOIA warfare and FOIA abuse. Yes, the Red Brigades are the Italian commies. Well, I assume people, when I said Brigado Rosso is red in Italian. So, Sulis and the Italian Prime Minister, they also kidnapped an American general, though. They kidnapped an American general, and he was rescued by the Carabinieri. The Red Army faction successfully zapped to do with an EMP. Yes, they did. They killed a banker with a shaped charge. But yeah, like, anyways, go into that. Like, I just don't think it's gonna work. You, like I said, you're better off just, like a 155 round, as Don the pleb has explained. The maximum lethal range of that is 500 meters. Fragmentation is what kills. That's going to be more effective. TX Travel says, are you going to join new tabletop gaming groups down in Florida? Yes, there are. There's a robust, bolt action community down in Florida, which will be fun. Can y'all Fed post more? I mean, we're not Fed posting. We're just talking. Let's see here. YouTube AI is going to yeet me. Yeah, well, they can suffer. So. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate it. So with that said, chat, yes, Ada off Franco's prime minister and numerous police barracks. Yes, well, ETA was famous for creating the Spanish space program with the amount of car bombs they used. So, well, that said, chat, we are going to, Mythbusters showed us how to make a South Korean MLRS. Really? I'm going to have to go back and look at that. So, anyways, chat, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you all for being here. And remember, until next time, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Denims is guilty, though. She's toast. She's toast on a cracker. It's over. EDW said, I missed your super chat. Where? Oh, I missed it. Okay, I'm sorry. V2 says, I understand what you're saying. I just advocate copyright reform, not copyright abolishment, although I might lean that way. Well, I mean, you just can't let companies, like, they should repeal, like, Disney being able to copyright everything for 1,000,000 years. But that's a corporate interest. Yes, big business own patents a copyright for a time period that's unfair. I agree. The cure for cancer probably exists, but is hidden by copyright protections. I don't think it is. Because at some point, I think somebody would have found it. Amon Rezawu has been a member for 24 months, says we. And then EDW Raptor for $14.88. Thank you, EDW, for creating a future for all Super Chat children. Oh. Let me see here. What is... This was an excellent Clyde episode. Of course it was. Say, don't let Anne Frank's dad's copyright his daughter's work. His daughter's work? Wait, I thought he wrote it. Because the ballpoint pens. Come on, KJ. With that said, chat, I will see you guys tomorrow. And take care, chat. Good night.
locksmithing and models of planes, esoteric works and even some trains. Much merriment had while drinking White Claws, tips on hunting and even talking the law. Whatever you do, just don't talk to cops, even when they nab you on illegal stops. Just 'cause you did it doesn't mean you're guilty, but please talk to a local attorney. Was that the fat guy Rick Hayden yelled at? Why, yes it was.